Hello, everybody. Hello, Happy New Year. Y'all come on in and hang out with me for a little while. We are on the road. It's so great to see you. Whoa. I'm tiny in this video. I'm learning all kinds of things while streaming on the road. We are in South Carolina. We are in Fairplay, South Carolina. And we have extended our time here another day to avoid traveling tomorrow in some possibly bad weather. So we're just hanging out here at the campground. I thought I would go live because this is the first time I've streamed live on YouTube away from the house. Now we went live Tuesday evening on the Creative Crew and we had all kinds of technical issues. So I spent a good many hours yesterday trying to figure out settings to change to make this stream better, and so that we could possibly do this in future trips, right? How is everybody doing? Jeannie, you're at home working on your journal. Yay! Oh, it's so great to see y'all. Thanks for coming and hanging out. This is not a tutorial, y'all. So if you're watching this on the replay, this is not going to be a fast, quick tutorial on doing English paper piecing hexies, but look at this. This is my travel project. This project has come with me the last several trips. Little English paper piecing hexies by hand. I'm going to walk you through how I do it, but y'all, there's a million different ways to do this. And I'm probably not the expert in this. If you know me, if you've followed my videos for any time, you know that doing projects by hand is not my favorite thing to do. But when we're on the road, this has been a great project to keep my hands busy and my mind occupied, right? I do think in April, we are going on a 21-day trip. And for that trip, I'll be bringing my sewing machine. So how cool would it be if the weather's nice to sit outside at the picnic table and sew with your sewing machine? Kind of really excited about that, but this is the project I bring along on the road. So I'm going to show you how I piece together my hexies. Hello everybody, it's so great to see y'all. Kathleen says, I'm crazy wanting to do the hexies. Well, I'll show you, Kathleen, how I do it, but I do suggest, I should have brought a tripod for my camera. Hold on, I'm going to have my hands in the way for a second. I should have set up a tripod for my camera. For my phone. Certainly, you can see how I do it, but I do suggest watching some other tutorials, just so, like I said, there's lots of different ways to do it. Lots of different ways. Ooh, Cheryl says, I'm going to start a Harley Davidson t-shirt quilt and a high school quilt. Yay! Well, Cheryl, if you have questions, let me know. Let me know. So here's what I've done, okay? A couple of trips ago, I went ahead and prepared a box, a travel box of stuff. Okay, I'm going to bring it up here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see in it. Let me make sure this camera doesn't keep zooming in and out. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to try to fix it so it won't keep zooming. Okay, there we go. It's really been from the Dollar Tree, okay? And it's got all this stuff in it. And really the camera is too close, but I'll show you some of the stuff in it. I used my paper punch. This is the 3-inch Hexie paper punch I got off of Amazon some time ago. And I pre-punched a whole ton of pattern paper hexies and just put them in my box. So this part is already done. You could use your Cricut, your Brother, your Silhouette, any of the cutting machines and cut a whole bunch out of one sheet of paper at a time. But I just bring my paper punch just in case I run out of these, which will probably never happen. I have a whole great big stack of them. And I'm just ready to go ahead and get started, right? I have a whole bunch of these. This is, technically this is not cardstock, it's pattern paper. Can y'all hear the kids outside playing? We have neighbors who have 3 kids. They're outside playing before the rain starts. It's not really thick like cardstock, but it's thicker than a piece of paper out of a notebook. Do you know what I'm saying? It's got some body to it, but it's not really, really thick. I cut these with junk mail that, you know, we get envelopes and stuff like that. I cut those things and use them as my paper piecing pieces. So I have a whole bunch of those, and then I pre-cut a whole bunch of fabric squares to put in my box. I have some light ones and I have some dark ones. So I have 2 stacks of pre-cuts, right? And they just have to be bigger than your hexie. So I have a whole bunch of those. I have some needle and some thread. I have this adorable needle book that Sally sent to me. It has some pins, my scissors, my needles. Look, she even made a cute little pin cushion. Isn't that cute? So I have all of that, and really that's all you need for a box to go, right? I do have a glue stick. You could use pins if you want, but I have a glue stick. And this is Aurifil cotton thread, made in Italy. And it's gray. I really wish I had gotten some black cotton thread, because on these darker pieces, if you look close, you can sometimes see the thread where I hand stitched these pieces together. So I might end up switching to some black thread. I thought gray was going to be neutral, but because I'm not that experienced with hand piecing, my stitches sometimes show. Sometimes they do. If you look really close, you might not see it here in the camera, but I see it in person. So yes, just some coordinating thread that kind of blends with your fabric. And that's all you really need for a travel kit of English paper piecing, right? Oh, it's so great to see y'all. Where can I find a hexie template to trace? Any ideas? You know what? You know what, Kathleen? I would Google it. Go to Google and type in the search bar free hexie template and see what comes up. You'd be surprised of what you can find free on the internet, and you might be able to find a tracing template that you can print off. I would Google it. Ramona said, I haven't seen you in a while. My phone broke and I missed you. Ramona, did you get a new phone? Technically, I haven't been live in a couple weeks. I pre-recorded the last few videos, the journal videos, because we were going to be gone. The latest video just released about half an hour ago. It was a lot of fun. I took my Sizzix Big Shot and embossed toilet paper rolls. So if you have not seen that, make sure to check out the video when you leave here. Dawn says, hi from the UK. Wow, hello, Dawn. What kind of thread and where do you get it? Cheryl, are you asking about your t-shirt quilt, what kind of thread to use, or for the hexies? For the hexies, I'm using Aurifil cotton thread, and I bought this, I think, on Amazon. But I'm using a cotton because it's really nice and strong, and I want my hand stitching to really stay. Jeannie, you saw the new video? Yay! Did you see the credits with your name at the very beginning today? If not, come back on the replay and check it out, Miss Jeannie. Cheryl, I'm so sorry. I need to move this phone so I'm not looking away when I'm reading the comments. I'm so sorry to hear you've been sick. My goodness. I hate to hear that. Oh yeah, Kathleen, if you're searching from your cell phone, it might be harder. If you have any way to jump on a computer or some kind of tablet or something, you might have an easier time. You can also just use a ruler, right, and draw your own. You could just use a ruler and draw out your own. Yay, I'm so excited to spend some time with y'all. Like I said, this is not an official tutorial at all. But I just thought I would share what I do when I'm on the road and just really come and hang out, right? These kind of live videos, they're not for everybody. But I really feel like in the last 8 months, we've built such a really cool community here on my channel on YouTube that when I don't come live on Thursdays, I really miss sitting and chatting with everybody. So again, it's not a tutorial. If you're mad because you're here because you just want to get to the nitty-gritty about how to paper piecing hexies, it's not that kind of video. Candy said, I used the same thread for mine, but use cheap thread for basting. You know what? That's a good idea. Candy, that's a good idea because I go through quite a bit of thread while I'm basting these things. That is so smart. You know what? I'll probably switch over. Oh, Sue said she was on her phone and she Googled free hexagon downloads and found a site on Pinterest. There you go. Linda said, I love the lives. It brings us closer together. That's what I really feel like I've gotten to know so many people since I started doing lives, and it's crazy. I really feel like my family has just expanded so much. Yeah, and Stephanie said you can find a hexie punch from the craft store. I just ordered mine on Amazon because I wanted the 3-inch. I would love to do okay, here's the truth. I would love to do a 1-inch hexie quilt. Being honest with you, I would never finish it in my lifetime. I love the look of it. I love the smaller hexies. But y'all, I'm struggling just to do this larger hexie quilt. This is a 3-inch. So I was like, if I do the 3-inch, I'll cover more area in a less amount of time. And there's a chance that I may eventually 1 year finish this quilt, right? It won't be this year. But there's a chance that I won't give up before I finish it if I use a bigger hexie punch. So that's what this is. And I got this really because I can bring this much easier than my brother's scan and cut on the road, right? But yeah, I went with a larger hexie punch so that my hexies are larger. Candy said, I'm in the middle of a pillow using my hub's favorite flannel jammies make the perfect quilt. Okay, so while we're on the subject of hexies, I did a video a couple years ago where I machine pieced a hexie quilt, and that quilt was actually for a client. And I was using her mom's favorite flannel PJ pants. You know, the stretchy pants, they were flannel. Her mom had a ton of them. And so that quilt was actually made with flannel stretchy pants. It was so soft and cuddly too. Ooh, so soulful. Hello. I'm in Fairplay right now. Fairplay, South Carolina. And then on the way home, so we're here, today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we head back to south of the border. We're going to stay at Pedro's, and then we're going to finish the drive home Sunday. Fairplay, South Carolina, that's where we are right now. Ooh, Tracy, you're finishing up your first t-shirt quilt. You know what? If there's a way for you to send pictures, I'd love to see it. In the description box, y'all, there's links of ways to get in touch with me. You can send me pictures through Facebook. If you don't do Facebook, jump over to my Etsy shop. You can send me messages through Etsy. So you could send me a picture there. I would love to see it. And in the meantime, y'all, I'm going to start basting one of these Hexies to show you how I do it. I'm not a professional hand quilter or hand piecer. I'm going to grab one of these little needles right here. Let's see, I'll grab this one. But I'll show you how I do it. And then I'll have all the ones who have done it for a lifetime be like, that's not the way you're supposed to do it, Lisa. That's okay. I always say whatever works best for you, right? I'm going to grab myself a good little stretch of thread, and to be honest, I usually make this really long so that I could baste like 3 or 4 Hexies without having to rethread my needle. And I don't know if you can see that thread on the screen. It's gray. It kind of blends in. But for this video tutorial, I'm going to make it short so I don't get knotted up and have to deal with that. Jeannie, I'm going to do some English paper piecing Hexies. Ooh, Dawn said, I need help with my t-shirt memory quilts when you get home. Okay, Dawn, but you know you can go to Creative Crew and post your questions there today and get help, right? You don't have to wait for me to get home. There's lots of help there waiting for you. Hi, Joyce. Is there good food at south of the border? Kelly wants to know. Kelly, I've only eaten there one time. So, this is a self-threading needle. I just poked the thread right through there. And I'm going to tie a knot while I answer this question. And if you've had food at south of the border, let us know what you think. We ate there one time during the summer. This past summer, Harlan's uncle passed away in Alabama. So we drove down to Alabama. On our way home, we stopped at south of the border. That's when we realized that they have a campground there. We ate lunch there. My tummy didn't feel so great after. But that's just me, y'all. I have sensitivity issues anyway. It was probably all me. But then this camping trip, we stayed at south of the border's campground, which was cute. I loved their little campground. So clean, so cute, right? But we didn't eat any of the food there. We shopped the shops. We went to the reptile museum. And but we ate. We have our camper with us, so we just saved our money and ate here at home. Oh, the sound is bad. Wonder why the sound is bad. Hold on a second. I moved my phone. Did that make any difference? Kelly, you're moving to South Carolina in 22 days. Oh, Dawn. Okay, well, I mean, just send me a message and I'll try to help you. I do have an email account, Sue. Lisa Capen Quilts at gmail.com. The sound is better? Okay, I bet you it was my phone because I put my phone up against the computer screen. I bet you it messed it up. All right, I won't put my phone up against the computer. All right. Okay, let me move my phone here. Maybe I can see it better there. This whole thing, you know, you should see my setup at home. I have 3 webcams on tripods. I have a separate microphone. I have my laptop there. Like behind the scenes, it looks crazy. Just to make a video where you can see my face and see what I'm doing. But it's all set up and I've gone through all the trial and errors. This doing lives on the road has been an experience, but it's kind of good that we're doing it because we plan on going on the road more often. All right, so I have my needle and my thread. There's just a little knot at the very end of the thread, right? I'm going to grab one of my paper pieces and let me grab some pretty fabric. Dark fabric so you can see the thread really good on this one. There's a piece of fabric and my scissors. Oh, my scissors are right there. Okay, now I like to use a glue stick to just temporarily adhere my hexie to my fabric so I can work on it without the fabric shifting around. You could easily just take a straight pin and pin this in place. Okay, you don't have to use a glue stick. The glue stick does come off very easily. You can remove these paper pieces when you're ready to very easily, even using a glue stick. But I'm just going to take this glue stick and just put a little dab like that and press it right down onto the back side of my fabric. It's just a temporary hold. Just a temporary hold. And then I'm going to trim all the extra. I should have some bigger scissors for this part. It's going to take me a minute. I'm going to trim the extra fabric around my hexie, and this does not have to be pretty. Just like that. It doesn't have to be pretty, and you can actually bring it in pretty close if you want. Just like this. Probably a lot easier if you have bigger scissors. Like that. Like that. Now, because I like keeping it really real on my channel, look at this one. See all that extra fabric on the back? I'm okay with that. This one has a lot of fabric on the back. Technically, you're not supposed to have that much fabric on the back. You should probably trim a lot closer than I do. But there we go. Just like that. Get rid of these extra bits. Ramona asked, do you make clothing? I made one clothing item in middle school in my home ec class. And that's when I learned that I'm not a seamstress who makes clothing. Not at all. I wish I could make clothing, but I don't have a knack for it. All right, and so once you have trimmed all of the extra away from your hexie, we're going to start basting this extra fabric to the back, okay? And I just usually bring it over and hold it right up to that paper edge. And that's why you want to use a paper that's got some little stiffness to it, right? It doesn't have to be super thick, but just some kind of body so that you can pull that fabric right over the edge, snug right there. Then I'm going to just pull over this next side, and I'm going to put my thumb here so that this gives me a nice little corner, just like that. See how pretty that corner is? Ooh, that's so pretty, right? And then I'm going to take my needle, and I'm going to go in that fold, which you might not be able to see because the fabric is dark. And I'm going to grab that seam, just a small little stay stitch, like that. And I'm going to go through there one more time. That's going to hold that seam right there. Then I'm going to come over to this next corner. I'm going to hold that in place and flip over this other side, just like that. That dark fabric is hard to see, isn't it? And I'm going to take a stitch through that seam, small little stitch. Whoops. My thread is getting caught. There we go. Small little stitch. And I'm going to go back through it again. Pull it tight, just like that. And then we're ready to move on to the next one. Now there are ways that you can use starch and starch these seams to the back with an iron. You can also use a glue stick and just glue these down and dry the glue with an iron. But this way is really great for me because I do this project mainly on the road, right? Or sitting in bed watching TV, stuff like that. So we're just going to keep repeating this whole process. Holding the fabric down and folding the next side over and doing a stay stitch right in that seam, grabbing both of the fabric layers. Through it once, through it twice. I'm going to try to show you close up what that looks like. Just like that. Coming back to this side. Kathleen said, your hexie is 3 inches. What size does the fabric need to be? I just cut a bunch of I think it was a 4-inch square. I didn't even really measure them. I just started cutting a whole bunch of squares. I even have some 5-inch squares that I'm going to end up trimming down because the fabric goes with what I'm using. And I don't have anything to measure this with. But yeah, you need at least a 1/4 inch to fold over to the back side. So my hexie is 3 inches. You need it to be at least 3.5 inches. If it's bigger, you can just trim the extra away. Now we've done all of these sides and we're back. We have one more side to do. And I like all of my seams to be going in the same direction. Maybe we'll do one more because the fabric is so dark, it's hard to see these little seams, right? For this very last tuck, I am going to, let's see, fold this over first, and then fold this down like that. And we're going to do a stay stitch right here. The sound is acting up again. Y'all hold on a second. For that seam, I went in there 3 times just to hold it in place. I'm going to come right into the middle. I'm going to take a bite into that fabric, just like that. And then I'm going to go back down inside, and I don't have to tie any knots or anything like that. The thread is going to stay just like that. So there's my little hexie. Let me try to figure out what's going on with the sound. Because I have no clue. Is that any better at all? Dun, 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 dun. Is that any better? Wow, Candy's doing the 1-inch hexies. I wish I had the patience for that, Candy. I wish I had the patience for that. I'm struggling just staying focused on doing these. It's not any better. I'm just quieter, still gurgly. Oh, goodness. Yeah. So we've had to research, after the live on Creative Crew Tuesday, we've researched Wi-Fi boosters, and I thought that changing some settings would help. I don't see where the video has like frozen, which is good, but I don't know what's going on with the mic. Let me try something. Dun, 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 dun. Is that any better? Is that any better? I don't know if it's the internet. I don't know what it is. Is your cord plugged in all the way? It is. And actually I'm not using an external mic while on the road. I did not bring my professional mic with us because it's just so much you have to pack up. So I'm using the mic on the computer. And then Tuesday night, I tried using the mic that is on this separate webcam, and both of them still messed up. Everybody's saying yes, it's better, or yes, there's still an issue. Oh, sound real good. Okay, good. Good. Louise Teresa said, it's from the internet connection. Mine does the same when I go live. It sounds better now. You know what? I think we're going to get a Wi-Fi booster for when we travel because I don't want to stop coming live, but I can see how it'd be really aggravating to watch, right? We're going to do one more. We'll do one more. I'm wondering if you'll be able to see this better. We'll do one more. You can actually do these you get pretty quick at basting these things. Just like that. I'm going to trim some of this extra away just for the sake of this video. To be really honest, sometimes I just get lazy and I leave all the extra on. Trimming, trimming, trimming. The trimming would go by so much faster with a bigger scissor. And the trimming doesn't even have to be pretty and exact, y'all. Which is kind of really awesome about these projects. You don't have to make sure you're cutting so exact or else your pieces won't match, right? They won't line up. That's kind of nice. Let me rethread this needle one more time. Y'all let me know if the sound goes out and I'll redo it again. We'll make do with what we have until we get that Wi-Fi booster. Yeah, Candy said the beauty of these is the back just does not matter. You're so right. You are so right. Vicky, if you've forgotten what days we're streaming, it's probably not your fault. We have not streamed live here on my channel for the last 3 weeks because of Christmas and because we've been on the road. So today's actually the first time I've streamed live here on YouTube in about 3 weeks. But next week we're going to be back home and things will be back to normal. So we'll be going live every Thursday with our more structured tutorial. This is not structured tutorial material. This is just hanging out with y'all, but showing you what I'm doing while we are on the road. Ooh, I will have to check that out. I'll have to check out your YouTube channel. That's what I'll do this afternoon when we're done here. I will go check out your channel. All right, we're going to start bringing these sides back. I have a hard time at this angle. Just like that. We're going to hold that side down and we're going to bring this right back over. There's that little seam. I'm just going to take 2 really small stitches right in that seam to lock it in place. Just like that. So there's our first corner seam. We're going to come over to the next corner. Just going to hold that in place with my thumb and flip over that raw edge just like that. Can you see that little seam right there? We're going to take 2 little small stay stitches to lock it in place. Oh, the sound is bad again. Now I'm afraid to talk. Let me know if the sound is bad. Oh, Jeannie says I'm clear on her end. Okay. For each one of these little seams, I'm doing 2 stitches just to lock it in place. Oh, you want some pointers on your dog art quilt? Yeah, we'll check it out. See how quick you can just really baste these? You're just doing 2 stitches in each one of these seams. This is the fast part for me. It's when you start sewing them together. That's when it starts being really time consuming for me. The basting, not so much. Autumn Witch, I don't know how they measured this Hexie punch. When I bought it on Amazon, they called it a 3-inch punch. But I don't think that that's 3 inches from flat side to flat side. But when I bought the punch, it said it was a 3-inch punch. Maybe the punch itself is 3 inches. The whole big unit. I don't know. We're back on this very last seam. I'm going to push this down and fold that right over just like that. And we're going to take 2 stitches in this last seam. So all of my corners are stitched, and just to finish it off, I'm going to go travel right to the middle of this seam, take a bite into that seam just like that. I like to do it twice just to make sure that this thread is not going to come undone, and then I just bury my thread right in there, and I don't have to tie a knot, which is kind of really nice. And there's my hexie. Maybe here is 3 inches to 3 inches. It's 3 inches. I don't know. I don't have a ruler with me. I don't have a ruler. So once you get a whole bunch of these done, I have quite a collection already done here. Let's see, let me pull some of them out of my box. I do some light ones for a while, then I'll do some dark ones. And then when I get bored with doing the basting, then I'll actually hand sew some together like that. Which is not my strong suit, y'all. For one, I don't think my stitches are close enough together. I'm just going to arrange them like this, like that. I'll put a black one in the center and get rid of these extras. I'm live on YouTube right now. Say hi to my dad. The beauty of live from the campground. That was my dad. I thought I'd warn him just before he started to say something that he might have been embarrassed by. So when you arrange them, you can kind of see how the flat sides go together like that, right? Let me see if I have a different blue one, different red one. I'll just do that like that. And fit it in the screen like that. Like that. So when you start to sew them together, you need to use some like really tiny stitches, which takes a lot of concentration for me. But you start off with 2 pieces and you put them pretty sides together like that. And you just hand stitch, just catching the fabric that hangs over the paper just a little bit, right? Really tiny stitches. Let me see if I can show you. See those little tiny stitches? So you sew the first 2 together right there, and then those are joined. And then you come in and you sew these 2 together, and then you flip them together like this, which is going to be awkward because this piece is folded at that point. And you sew along this seam, and then you have a group of 3, and you just really work yourself around sewing the 2 seams as you go until you are left with like this little flower. And this is where I stop with these projects. I have a whole big group of these flowers. I have maybe 12 of them, which is a lot for me. But I have 12 of these flowers. I think I need like 160 to make the size quilt that I want to do. But yeah, And so I stop right here. I make these little flowers, and then I have a stack of them, and then I'll baste more hexies. When I get bored with that, then I'll sew them together. I know Mr. Domestic has a great video for actually sewing together your hexies. His stitches are really close together. Mine are not. And I'm not even going to pretend to be like this great quilter who does excellent handwork and try to sew these together on camera, because I'm not that good at it, okay? And sometimes it's better to know your weaknesses and know your strengths. That's a weakness of mine. So I'm not going to bring you along for that part. But I will tell you, there's a ton of videos how to sew your hexies together. But really, I just wanted to show you, or maybe inspire you, if you've wanted to do an English paper piecing project like this, all honesty, it's not that hard, and it's actually a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. If you don't get bored with projects like I do, then you'll probably finish one a lot faster than I do. I struggle. I lose excitement about projects that take a long time. But I'm hoping that I stick with this. Do you keep the paper in the hexies? Yeah, I keep my paper in. At this point, see, all of these hexies still have the paper in them. See, there's the paper. And the paper helps hold that hexie shape, okay? Especially while you are sewing them together, you need that paper in there to hold that shape and stabilize your fabric, okay? Now, once you start joining these flowers, my other flowers are at home. This is one I've done since we've left the house. Once you have these flowers, you're going to start connecting the large flowers together, right? I still have the papers in there when I do that. But once you have flowers all the way around here, or once you get the whole top pieced, then you can start popping out these papers, right? And you really just reach in. I'll pop out this one. You just reach in and grab that edge of the thing, edge of the paper, and you pull on it. Sherry, you caught me alive. See that paper? It's starting to come out of there. I might have actually stitched my stitches in the edges, but even if you do, it still comes out just like that. See, there's my paper. You might be able to iron this and use this all over again, right? I wouldn't throw that away. I'll put it in my stack of hexies. The paper that I am using is just pattern paper. You know how you can get the paper pads from like Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Tuesday Mornings, paper pads. I've gone through and just grabbed a couple sheets of patterned paper. It's not quite cardstock thickness, but it's thicker than a regular piece of notebook paper. I did cut some book pages with my paper punch, but these are kind of thin, and they bend a little bit when I fold the fabric over them, so I do prefer a paper that's a little bit thicker. Like if you get junk mailers that are kind of like postcards, you know, we all get those kinds of things, you could use that kind of paper. You don't want it so thick that you have a hard time bending it to get it out of the hexie when you're done. But you don't want it so thin that it's not going to hold its shape when you're folding that fabric over the edge to baste it, right? Ta-da-ta-da. Ooh, over on the Fat Quarter Shop, Tula Pink has a mini series, 3 or 4 for hexies, and she shares all the shortcuts for sewing. That's good to know, because I'm not your teacher when it comes to sewing these together. I don't know. This is the back side of my flower, and I've used a gray thread, which I probably need to change to a darker thread. But can you see my hands? I'm trying to get it in the camera. There we go. All the little gray stitches, those are my hand stitches of where I've sewn it together. It's not that bad. I've actually gotten much better the more that I've done, but I can see my stitches on the front side when I look really close, and that just might be because I've used a really light gray thread. But y'all, this takes me forever to sew them together, so y'all don't want to sit here for that. The sound is going funny again. All right, hold on a second. Is that any better? That could get annoying really quick. It's clear now. Yay! Can you machine sew, or is it better to do it by hand? I think it's all in what you like, right? I machine stitched a hexie quilt. Granted, the hexagons were larger. They were like an 8-inch hexagon. I'm a machine sewing kind of person. I know lots of people who prefer handwork. I think it's all in what you like, right? This is great for on the go for me, or, you know, we like to watch TV at night, me and Harlan. And sometimes we watch series that he's more interested in than I am. I don't want him to not watch it because I'm not that interested. So it's great to have a project that keeps my mind busy during those times, right? And so that's what this is great for. Otherwise, I think it's much faster for me to sit down on a sewing machine and sew hexies together. Totally different process. Not like this at all, but for me it's much faster. What size are these? You know, Cheryl, we were just talking a minute ago. When I bought this, actually, I think, no, I did not put a link to this. If you go over to Amazon and you type in the search bar, 3-inch Hexie paper punch, this is what comes up. They said it was a 3-inch. I don't have a ruler with me, but they claimed it to be a 3-inch hexie. It's much bigger than a 1-inch hexie, I will tell you that. I will tell you that. So this trip has really been great because it's been like an eye-opener on things we need to fix in the future. Because we do plan on leaving the house and traveling more next, you know, this year, next year, for longer periods of time. And I don't want to stop working or coming live. So this trip has really been great to see what the issues are with streaming. And now we have time to fix them before we head out in April. Ah, hey Lisa. We have several Lisas. We have several Lisas that watch along. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're following along. I need to move my phone because I feel like I'm looking away from you, reading the comments. Ooh, Margaret says she saw where you can actually sew these together by machine. I bet you there's, I've never tried it, but I'd be willing to try it. So baste them like this, right? And then sew them together by machine. Which I bet if I experimented with it, I could get that done, right? Casper, you just found my channel. Thanks for joining in. Today is not like most of our videos, just letting you know. Just letting you know. Cheryl, yeah, I'd love to see and follow along in the progress of your quilts. That's exciting. Yeah, I don't know how much work that would be. I bet, yeah, I bet if you use the big zigzag stitch, or I have a stitch on my machine that stitches in the middle and stops, and then stitches on both sides and then continues. I made this fun little wall quilt. It's an art quilt with like a faux border on it, and in that video it looks like a chalkboard with a camper on it. If you want to go check it out to see this stitch, in that video I stitched down my applique with that stitch. I bet you that stitch would work. I bet you it would. Cheryl, yes, if you're not on the Creative Crew group, you need to do that. There's a link down in the description box. It brings you over to Facebook, and if you haven't joined Creative Crew, it's a free Facebook group. I think we have over 4,000 members now, and it's a great place to share your pictures, ask questions. You usually get plenty of help within a short amount of time, and we do fun stuff like a live show and tell every other Tuesday. This last Tuesday we did a selfie challenge, which was great because I got to put a lot of faces with the names. And then we do Zooms. We do all kinds of fun stuff. We've done swaps in the past, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you need inspiration, there's so many projects people are doing that you can see pictures of, get inspired, or ask your questions. Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I'm hoping this year is so much different than last year, right? Thank you so much, Tracy. Tracy says it's 28 where she is. The high today is going to be 33 here in Fairplay, South Carolina. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. That was the latest that we heard. And so that's not why we're leaving. We were supposed to leave here tomorrow, but we don't want to drive in the snow. So we've extended our stay a day. 33 today. It's cold in here. We have 2 heaters and the propane heater is on. Ooh, that's good to know. Quilting for the Soul said they use the Y stitch if you do these by machine. You know what? When I get home, I'm going to try that out, because I might change the whole focus of this project, right? I might baste these on the road because that goes by really fast. So I'll just baste Hexies and then save them just like this till I get home, and then stitch them together with my sewing machine. I don't know. I'm gonna investigate that when I get home. Do you iron? Donna wants to know, do you iron the Hexies at all? You know what? What I would do, at this stage, this has not been pressed at all. But see how flat that's laying? See how flat it is? What I would do is, before you take the papers out, you know, when you've got a big section together, before you take the papers out, maybe press it. I don't know if it's necessary, but if you want to press it, I would press it with the papers in and then take the papers out. That's just what I'm thinking. I might be wrong. I don't know. Oh, Cheryl said you were just up the road from me. Cheryl, I wish I would have known that. If you want to come by and say hi, we're going to be here today and tomorrow. Fair Play, South Carolina. I like this campground pretty well. A lot of the amenities because of COVID, you know, well, plus because it's winter. There's not much to do here, but I like not having lots to do while we're out, because I just chill out and do stuff like this, right? Yvette, you just finished a stained glass flower quilt? Oh my goodness, I want to see it. Send me an email, lisacapenquilts@gmail.com, or open up the description box and contact me any of one of those ways, because I would love to see it when you get the binding on. Quilting for the soul says she likes to hand stitch the hexagons together. That's not my favorite part. I mean, I like it, and it's busy work, and I like busy work. You know what? I bet I would like it better if I used a thread that blended in. Because when I'm doing stuff and I can see those imperfections in there, see that little dot right there? When I see that, I'm just not happy. Maybe because I'm completely OCD about it. Maybe if I changed my thread color, I would enjoy hand sewing them together because I wouldn't see all of that. But after doing all of that work, and it takes me so long to get here, and just to flip it over and see the stitches and the thread, oh, it just kind of, it just makes me a little less excited about hand stitching them. Well, y'all, it has been so great. I know this is not like the most professional, the most professional tutorial. It's not even really a tutorial, but I'm so glad we've gotten to hang out today. And you know what? It's a good learning curve for me trying to run multiple cameras and stream. I'm kind of really glad, even though I know it's annoying for you, that we had the microphone issues, because now I know I need to bring my extra mic with me. And we need a Wi-Fi booster. So it's been a good learning trip. It's been cold. But I just want to thank y'all so much for hanging out. So what's new? What can we expect in my channel for this year? I'm super excited about this, y'all. I'm super excited about this. In July, we're going to do Christmas in July. I've designed a 12 block Christmas sampler. It's going to be a free quilt along. I don't know if I'm going to go live for 12 days or pre-record 12 videos. I still haven't decided that yet, but I've got the quilt designed. It's going to be a free 12 block pattern Christmas sampler quilt. I've not yet named it. We might just call it that. I don't know, but it's so cute. We're doing that in July so that if you want to follow along, you'll have a quilt made by Christmas, right? So we're going to do that in July, Christmas in July. And then in November, we're going to do 12 days of Christmas again. But this time, I'm showing 12 different projects that are really fast to do, but make really awesome Christmas presents. So if you're into making handmade gifts, you're going to love that series, 12 Days of Christmas in November. And I'm doing it in November so that you have time to make these projects in time for Christmas, right? I've tried to think ahead this year. What else are we doing? We're going to still go live here on Thursdays. I'm going to try to, in April, bring my sewing machine to the campground. Maybe we'll do some on-location sewing outside. I did create a Patreon page. If you want to check that out, it's in the description box. You get exclusives. You get free patterns. There's already 2 patterns that are not released to the public and won't be. You can check that out. What else are we doing? Oh, I designed the coolest quilt while we've been out here camping. It is awesome. So I think I'm going to make a video series about that. I don't know when that's coming out. It's just something that popped in my head. I wrote it down, pulled out my computer, and designed it. I have the whole thing. I want to make one just to check everything before I release it. But yes. Oh, it's so pretty. What else? Yeah, lots of stuff. Yeah, a Christmas quilt. It's exciting. Oh, that's just the stuff that comes to mind. My planner is so full of projects and ideas, but just thinking off the top of my head, that's what comes to mind. So, y'all stick around with me this year, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for dealing with the microphone issues and not leaving when that happened. And yeah, I guess we will see you live next Thursday. I think we're not going to do a journal video during that live. We might make a quilt block, a traditional quilt block next Thursday. Let's go ahead and plan on doing that. So if it's a pattern you need, I'll list the thumbnail for the live a couple days in advance. But if it's a simple quilt block, then I'll just see you next Thursday and you can follow along. Yeah, that's what we'll do next Thursday. In the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic week. Thanks for hanging out with me today in Fairplay, South Carolina. I can't wait to see you next week. Bye, everybody.